something that came to the sides of the house, the wind, right? And something that was under the house, that was the flood, right? Three things in that house. And the Lord said, well, but it did not fall because it had been founded on the rock. So the first thing that he said, that is coming down the rain, the winds, and the flooding. But nothing happened because the foundations of the house was in the rock, right? I don't know if you see the houses, but most of the houses has cement and block and some, I don't know what else they have. What else the houses has in the foundation? Yeah, exactly. Make sure that everything is hard, right? So that seems that the house was okay. But he said, and everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the same thing happened with the second house at the first ones, right? The rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and great was the fall of it, right? The foundation was the clue to have a good house in this moment, right? The two houses were well, the two houses were good, but the foundation was the main reason why the house was good. Wow. When we see that, we can say, well, I know that story. I know that is good, right? I hear that a lot of times. But how many of you hear that story? Tell me, how many of you hear that story? Yeah? Everyone, right? And so did you hear that story before? Yes? About the two houses in the rock and in the sand? You didn't? Yeah, he did it, right? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, I would. Okay. Most of us hear the story, right? Most of us. I'm pretty sure at some moment we saw it, right? We saw that. But you know, how many of you changed your life because of that parable? Don't answer me. But how many of you starting really understanding where your foundation need to be? How many of you started to be doers more than hearers? When you hear that story, how many of you say, well, I will trust a little more in God than my job, right? I will trust a little bit more in God than the government. I will trust more in God than in my father or my mother or my husband, right? Because those things are important for us. But many times we have our hope in those things. Many people, are really busy doing so many things that they don't have time for the Lord, right? Many times we don't have time for the Lord, We go to work, we go to activities with our friends, but we don't have time in an intimacy moment with the Lord sometimes. How many times we do that, right? I am not saying that you don't do it. I am just reflecting today. Because I think it's a call for the Lord, from the Lord to us today. The world is calling us to do many things today, right? I don't know. I feel that every day parents are more busy, right? I remember when I was little, I knew when my father was going to work and when he was coming back. I knew when my sister was going to work and what time she was coming back. I knew it at least, as you know, I lost my mom when I was 8 years old. So my sister was like my mother, right? So she needed to go to work. And every morning she was telling me, when I come, I need you to have this water broil, or you need to do these things, because when I come, I will come to do the dinner. So when she was coming, I didn't see when she was coming. I just knew it, right? I will see the clock, and I will put the water or the things that she was telling me to be prepared for when she comes, and was ready. And she was at the same time coming in the house. How many had that same experience? Yeah? I think many of us, right? That parents were at certain time, right? You know also that your mom was at home, right? Many of us had the opportunity to have, many of you have the opportunity to have your moms at home, right? But nowadays, we are so busy that I don't know what is happening, right? We are spending too much time working. We are spending too much time studying, right? I can see Paula studying all day long, and she didn't start. She didn't start university yet. But she goes to school, and now she's doing co-op. So she's going there, she comes home, and she needs to do some homework, and we have some time together. But she is working a lot in her studies, right? And I don't know. Every day looks like we are more and more busy with things from this world. But the call of the Lord is today, where is our foundation, right? I don't need to be really too worried about the future. If I don't work, I know the Bible says that if you don't work, you don't eat, right? You need to work. But how don't do it too much, right? You need time with the Lord. You need time with your family. You need time with your wife, with your children, because that's the most important thing. Something important that we need to understand in the house is the house has a meaning, right? The houses that the Lord was talking about has a meaning. First, a house fill the needs that we have. 3 needs, especially. The first thing is shelter, right? We need a house, right? I don't know how many people is without houses right now, but one of the worst things that is happening right now is the housing in Canada, right? Housing and renting. People is looking for more places to work, to live, right? Housing is really bad, right? The rent is really high, and every year it's going up, right? The prices of the house are going up, and we have a lot of problems with homelessness, right? So when the people, last 2 weeks ago, we were minus 47, right? You remember that day that we have minus 47? We needed a shelter. Even if you are a homeless people, that probably that some homeless like to be outside, right? Maybe they have families, but they prefer to be outside. But that day, I think they were looking for a shelter. They were looking for something where they can cover, right? Because men and women and families need a place to hide when it's hard time, right? He said that we need that shelter then. But that shelter needs to be built in the right place. So when you are sheltered, I don't know if we can use this word, sheltering. I don't know. Yeah, We can say we can shelter in our families, right? I'm sorry, I don't know if we can use that, but we need that shelter in our lives, right? So when you are in troubles, when the storms comes, you need a shelter, right? Broken today, but they will be broken really bad if they didn't have the hope, right? So when we need shelter, where are we going? Where is our faith? That's the foundation of our home, right? So that's why we need to remember. The other meaning of the houses is a place to rest, right? When you come from work, you want to go to home, right? Regina, I'm pretty sure that after making all those good food that you make in your work, you just want to go home and rest, right? I saw you sometimes, I don't say, but resting with the children and with your husband. I see it because you put some pictures, right? And you say, just enjoying my moment with the family, right? And that's good, right? Because we are looking for a place to rest of the problems, of the situation, of the worries of the day, right? The same thing. We need find the rest in the Lord too. You know, in Him we have that place to rest of the worries of this world. When we are worried about what we are going to eat or what we are going to wear, where are we going to find our hope or rest? In the Lord. Maybe I don't have job today. Maybe I am sick today. Maybe I am worried about somebody that I love today. Maybe I have a grieving heart today. But I can rest. I can rest because I know who is the one who cares for me, right? That's the foundation of my home, the foundation of my life, where I am resting, right? That's what Jesus Christ was telling the people. You need to find the rest in the rock, right? Resting in the rock. And in the Bible, we will find that many verses talk about that Jesus is a rock of salvation, right? David wrote in the Old Testament, in the Psalms, and in his story, you will find him saying, the Lord is my rock. He is my shelter. He is my refuge where I can go when I am in trouble, right? So where is your resting place? Where is your resting place? Is in the Lord or is in the things of this world? The other thing is the house is also a place of communion, right? I believe most of the houses have a place, is a place of communion, right? When everyone is happy, when everyone embraces the other, when everyone loves the other and try to help others, right? The communion that I have because I love my brother, I love my sister, I love my husband, I love my parents, right? So there is communion in our houses, right? And that's why we go home, right? You know, problems always start when somebody don't want to go home, right? When the children don't want to go home and prefer to stay in the streets or stay in the house of a friend, start to asking yourself, why my child don't want to come home, right? Why he don't want to come to my home, to our home? Do we have communion? Why my husband don't want to come home, right? After work, he decided that he will have a drink or he will have a football game or he will go to some places instead of coming home. If they are working well, we can't do anything about that, right? But what after the work? Why they don't want to come home? Why the wife don't want to come home? Be worried when that happens. because something is not right in the communion of the house, right? And also, is the communion with God is the same thing. What's happened when we don't want to come to pray? What's happened when I don't want to worship the Lord? What's happened when I don't want to come to church? Something wrong is happening in my relationship with God, right? Because I am not having that communion. I don't want to worship. I don't want to pray. I don't want to learn more. Oh, it's so boring, right? Be careful, because it's possible that something outside is taking my attention from the Lord, right? Like when the children say, I don't care about my home. I don't care to worry my parents, right? It's the same with the Lord. So the house that is built in the Lord, your life is a house too, right? So do you have that communion with the Lord? Do you have your foundation in the love of the Lord and the mercy and the grace of the Lord? Do you want to be in His presence, right? You know, in 1 Corinthians 10:4 said, and all drank the same spiritual drink, for they drank from the spiritual rock that followed them, and the rock was Christ. Paul is telling the Corinthians, you know, all that drink the Holy Spirit, said they drink from the spiritual rock, and they followed them, and the rock was Christ. Again, Christ is the rock, and we want to follow Him, right? Because He is the only one that can give us shelter. He is the only one that can give us communion. He's the only one that can give us rest. And that's why we are founded in Him, right? You know, when we talk about the rain and the rivers and the winds that came to the house, the rain was testing the roof. You know, sometimes you are the house, right? You are the temple of the Holy Spirit. So you are the house that is founded in the rock. In your mind, you can imagine that this is the roof, and the enemy wants to put there a lot of rain, things that come every day. The problems, the situation, what you see in the radio, you hear in the radio, when you watching the TV, is coming here like a rain over your head, right? And you will stay in the Lord, or you will say, no, I will not take this. I will not take this, because my foundation is in the Lord. The flood tests also the foundation, right? And you know what? The world can be the flesh that we have, right? Every day, you know, you remember that Paul said, I have a lot of desires in my body, right? But I put them in order, and I hid myself. He don't say that he was using anything. He was just saying, I try to sustain my body, right? So I can be standing in the Lord, right? Because the flesh is there every day. You know, the winds of the flesh will become to you every day. What are the things that are attracting me, right? The winds of the desires come to you, but if you are founded in the Lord, you will not leave your body to come to down to the enemy, right? Not your mind, not your body, right? And the other thing that was tested was the entire structure, right? All the house had the winds, all the floodings, all the roofs. but they were stand still because the Lord was there. They were in the rock. So brothers and sisters, one of the problems in this world is that most of the people are foolish. Most of the people are thinking that their job, their money, their degrees, their things will help them in the moments of trouble. But the wise men say that they trust and they rest in the Lord because He is the only one that will help us in the moments that we have the storms in life, right? The storms in life will come every moment, from one moment to another, will come to you. But where is your foundation? Where is your shelter? In whom you are resting? That's the most important question that you need to ask. And often, a storm of crisis, Jerry, thank you. The storms of crisis will reveal where is your foundation, right? If you are running away from God when you have troubles, that means that your foundation was not in Him, right? When you are sick and you are angry because the Lord is not healing you, then your foundation was not in Him, right? Because you were waiting just for the blessings, right? But the storms will reveal where is your foundation. That's why we don't worry. We take shelter and we take rest in the Lord, right? That's our challenge every day. Every day. And you know, the houses need repairs every year. We just make some repairs in the church, right, Wendy? We just make some repairs, you know, every certain years, the fire inspection department comes and makes an inspection. And we did have some emergency lights. And we were happy because they were good, but now we realized that one of them was not working. And the problem is that they don't do the bulbs anymore. So we needed to change all the unit, right? Little repairs. But the inspection will say, if you don't repair that, we can close the church, right? For one bulb, for one light, right? The same is in our house, in our bodies, in our minds. Every day we need to make an inspection and see the foundation is good. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue making repairs every day, right? Making repairs. You can be the inspector of your own life, right? Every day you just see, well, how is my mind? How is my body? How I am acting? How is my heart? And the Lord will help you, right? So let's pray this morning. And you know, all these things that we talk today talk us to a lasting, the holiness of God. We do that inspection because we want to be holy before the Lord, right? Because He is holy. And that's the song that we are finishing this morning, the song that is called Holy, Holy, Holy. So I will ask Paula and Maria to come and help us with that. And while you are singing this hymn, it's an old hymn. I think most of us know that. I'm pretty sure that you can sing it in Portuguese, I can sing it in Spanish, and you can sing it in French or in English. But the meaning of that song is really special, right? Holy, holy, right? We worship the holy, and we want to be holy before Him. So let's give this time to Paula and Maria to lead us with this.
song shall rise to thee. Holy, 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 merciful and mighty, God in three persons, blessed Trinity. Holy,